Now let's go to the Data 3 tab and calculate profit margin. Now here we have individual countries, different regions, risk codes, their sales, and their gross profit. And if you remember, profit is actually sales minus cost of goods sold. And cost of goods sold would include the direct material cost that goes into a product, direct costs such as labor input costs that are directly associated with production, and certain amounts of overheads. So if you remember, profit margin would be profit divided by net sales. Or if you were to do it all in one calculation, the sales minus the cost of goods sold, which I've done for you already, that's profit, that's a dollar amount. If you take that and divide by sales, that would give you a margin, and the word margin means percentage, which is valuable. You know, if I tell you I made $796,000 in profit, that's only relevant if you compare it to the actual amount of sales. But a percentage gives you a clue as to how much of the money you're allowed to spend on other things. So let's start. Click somewhere inside, click Insert, Pivot Table, and OK. Now let's do this. Let's do profit margin by market or country. So if we put market in here and then put net sales in box 1 and gross profit in box 2, we would get all the amounts just as in the first sheet. So I'm just going to format these just so they look good. You don't have to. And off to the side, so don't do it right next to it, just do it off to the side somewhere. We're going to calculate profit margin. So first one would be C4, which is profit, divided by B4, which is sales. And your profit margin is, of course, a percentage. Let's do 1 decimal, and we'll copy it down. Now you might get div symbols here, and you can just ignore those. That just Pivot does that. Whenever there's zeros and zeros, it doesn't understand. So you can just ignore those. It's no big deal. So let's do some analysis now. I want to pivot these by, let's say, region. So I'm going to go up to region. And by the way, if you scroll to the bottom, it will tell you overall profit margin for the whole company is 71.8%. So out of $182 million in total revenue or sales, we get to keep $131 million for other things. But I'm going to now zone that down, or narrow it down, or slice it down, or drill it down, call it whatever you like, by region. So let's see. I'm going to go to Africa. And my profit margin in the Africa region actually is 81%. So although I only generated $16 million in revenue, I get to keep a significantly more portion of it. And again, we could drill down to different areas and figure that out. So 59% in Europe alone. Let's have some fun with this. Let's put region in box 2 and get rid of market. See what happens. Okay, so what it actually is doing is it's respecting the same calculation you had before. And again, just ignore these divs. They shouldn't bother you. That's just a thing Pivot has. But look, for every region, I've got different profit margins. You know what? Africa is actually a great place to do business right now because I'm earning higher margins, certainly not the volumes. So you have to ask yourself, is your position, your strategy to have cash inflow? Is it volume, or is it the quality of the profit itself? And we can narrow it down further. We can go maybe by risk. So our higher risk country is actually more profitable. So let's get rid of that. Put risk over here. And let's see. So by the way, I have no countries in risk 6. But look at this. The low risk countries actually are generating a much better or healthier profit that I could use. But the high risk of 7 and 8 are generating quite good profit. So I might actually stay in some high risk countries to generate a 75.1% profit, as opposed to, let's say, an overall profit of 71.8%. And that's how to calculate profit margin.